Hey friends, welcome back to our series for the future homemakers of America. I've started doing this on Thursday and it was all based on my book, Large Family Mothering. My name is Amy Marion. I am a mother of 10 kids, been a stay-at-home mom for all of that time. And what I've learned is a lot of different ways to run your household. You can get videos and you can talk to people in professional fields of how to manage a business, how to do a financial course and do well in this specific field. But to be a homemaker, how do you learn to be a homemaker? How do you learn to be a good homemaker? I've learned that it's through experience. It's through talking to older women and learning. And it's just going to be trial and error a little bit. So everything I say, these are just things I've learned. Does it mean my ways have been perfect? Absolutely not. I am still learning. At 50 years old, I am still learning that there are things I can do in my home to change and make it better. But what my hope is that through YouTube, through this online platform, that, you know what, this is going to leave some kind of legacy, some kind of value for someone in the future to help them. So with all that said, last week's video was our kitchen, and we kind of went through all the different areas of a kitchen that I could possibly think of that would benefit a new bride, a new homemaker, or even experienced one, because you know what, I'm learning things. There's things that I love learning that I go, oh wow, I never even thought of that. So informational and hopefully something that will encourage you. So today we're going to move on to the dining room. Now everybody's dining room is going to look different in your home. It depends on what your home looks like. Some people might have a dining room specifically. Our dining room is right off of our living room in this home. In one of our homes, it was in its own separate room. Some people might not even have one. You might just have it in your kitchen. It just depends on what you have. But your dining room is going to be the place that you're going to eat most of your meals in your home. And it's also going to be not just where you nourish your body, but also where you nourish relationships and you build and form some bonds together with your family. And now in a large family home, sometimes the dining room table is where you do everything. This is where you bring papers in and you set it on the table. This is where you do your schoolwork in on the table. This is where you fold towels on this area. So this table can get cluttered very quickly. So today I want to challenge you to declutter this space and rethink how you look at this area here and bring it back to more a place that you can invite your family, where you can grow in relationships at this very spot. So let's grab a cup of coffee. I got my flamingo cup here. Let's get comfy and let's talk about how we can make our dining room more peaceful, functional, and intentional. Let's go. So let's start with the basics. Let's look at your dining room table, however that looks in your home. When we first started out, we had a card table, and that's what we use for a table. It doesn't matter. You can look at many different styles, many different things of tables. I know for us, we have a large family, and I knew we're going to be needing to extend it at certain times, and we're going to have to also have it shortened at different times when the house got smaller. But I wanted something sturdy and heavy. So when I look for our table, sometimes when you buy these larger tables, they're more expensive with the whole set. So we had found this table on a clearance special because it was just the table, because who wants just a table, and especially a big table. So we were able to get it. And then over the years, I've sanded it down, I've painted it, I've done different things to it. It's just good quality wood, so you can do that. And then we were able to add chairs inexpensively, and my husband built some benches for it. And that worked for our situation. Will that work for everybody's? No, not at all. But when we were looking at it, especially when we had little kids, let me encourage you, if you have a lot of little kids, there's nothing wrong with chairs, and maybe you like chairs. I have found chairs are constantly, you're picking up and constantly having to move, you sweeping, all that stuff. So we opted for benches. Benches can fit a lot more behinds on it, especially when you have little kids, a little bit easier. Harder when they're little because you have to worry about them falling back, so be careful on that. But it worked very well in our home. So I opted for benches, and you don't see anything. See how you just kind of see nice and flat? You don't see a bunch of chairs sticking up. It also worked because my kids, when they were little, they would want to crawl. Remember when you have the climbing toddler? And if you got a lot of little kids at home, and the last thing you want to do is have to worry about kids climbing on your table. And so they would pull those chairs out. They would climb. They'd knock the chairs over, and it was like, so we'd usually end up putting the chairs on the table at certain times. So with the benches, it's just a little bit nicer because they're right down. You have to worry about them falling over. They're just a little bit easier to be on. So that was just something we opted for. I've loved it over the years. Would I go back to chairs? I don't know, maybe in the future, but right now I just enjoy benches. They're sleek, they're low, you don't really see them. It works. So let's go with decluttering and setting the tone in your dining room. When you go to your dining room table, let's look at it. Does it look cluttered? Is there a bunch of paper on it? Is there mail that you brought in and set on it? Is it all your school papers on top of it? I don't know what that looks like. So what I'm going to encourage you to do when you go to have your meal, clear off your table. Have one of your children say, okay, clear the table off so we can have a meal on it. It helps to have a designated spot for for your books. I understand about doing all your work on your table, and you have to sometimes. I know for us, sometimes it's easier just to leave it out because we're going to be here the next day anyways. But if you have a designated area for things, like our school books go in that thing over there, that's not always feasible. Maybe, I know in our home, we haven't always had drawers like that. So you know what I got was like one of those crates, almost looks like a milk crate. I think they're like a storage box. We would store our schoolwork in there. So at the end of the day, we're able to take our stuff and stick it in there and set it just on the floor in the corner, and then our table was cleared. Your mail paperwork that kind of comes in, take it right to your trash can, throw away your junk mail, take your regular mail and stick it in your office or wherever you do your bills and things like that, so it doesn't accumulate on your table. Keep your centerpiece simple on your table. Okay, would I recommend having one of these runners on your table with little kids? Absolutely not. Would I recommend it when you have toddlers? Absolutely not, because you know what? You're going to be stressed out trying to keep this clean. When you have a lot of little ones and your job is work, the less things you have, the easier life is. So when you have little ones, it's a whole lot easier to have a clean countertop, something you can just wipe off in one fell swoop. That just works out easier, less to pick up, and less worry if the kids dirty this. Another thing, if you want a runner, get like the plastic ones that you can wipe off. I believe Big Lots, I know they're not around anymore. Well, they're not here, but they would have ones where you can wipe them. It's just washable, a lot easier than material, because then you got to worry about it washing it, being wrinkled, being stressed out about it. Keep it simple. We like to keep napkins on ours because it's easier just to grab and everybody have their things. And we put this on here. I have older teenagers now, but if I had little ones, I wouldn't even worry about it. Sometimes when you have big giant things, at one of our houses, I would do something that was a little bit bigger, like lanterns, and it was very pretty and aesthetic looking, but every time you sat at the table, the lantern was like in somebody's face. Or this, you had to look around it. Or if we had something big, it seems like you couldn't see everything around. So keep it open and clear so that you can see and enjoy everybody around you. And then underneath the table, I'm gonna recommend to ditch the rug. I know it's tempting to have a rug under your table because it looks great. It will get spilled things on it. Kids will drop crumbs on it. It's just one more thing to pick up. So I know in one of our houses, probably not so much anymore in our house, other people's houses, but in our dining room, it had carpet. Yeah, it had carpet in the dining room. So what I did, I got some, this is an inexpensive way, piece of plastic roll, like basically like that stuff that used to line hallways. Remember that back in the day? And we put that down underneath. That protected our carpet because we had a rental house. And that worked because we were able to sweep it up. What if you got a lot of little kids, get some of those little hand brooms and little dustpans and encourage them to go and clean up the floor. After dinner, have it pull it out and say, here, you go clean and sweep under the table and take that little dustpan. They can sweep up the crumbs on the floor. That's a good way to get your younger children involved to help clean up. If you do it yourself, that's fine. You can use a vacuum. There's nothing wrong with all those. I'm just giving you fun things that we've done with our kids over time. And then also, just keep it clear. Keep it clear so it's easy to clean up. If you spill something, you just wipe it up without having to worry about a rug being stained and having more work on your plate. And then remember, this is something random, but wipe down your legs of your table and of your chairs. Put that like on your chore list. You got a daily, monthly, weekly, yearly chore list yet? Watch my videos in this series earlier. I have how you set that up. Wipe those down because those get really grimy and be surprised how it gets dirty over time. Don't do it every day. Just do it every maybe month. It depends on how your kids are. Maybe once a month, maybe every few months. It just depends on the amount of mess in your household. Now let's say that you don't have a pretty table. I've had that. I had a table given to me by my aunt that had a large family, and it was an old table. And it was definitely old. It reminded me when I was growing up, but it was a big table. And I just didn't really like the top of it. It wasn't very, very fancy of it. You know, a great way to cover up a table that you don't really like? Get a tablecloth. Yeah, a tablecloth. You can get the cheapy ones at Walmart to cover them, but you can go get a little bit nicer ones at like, I'm gonna say in the fabric section at Walmart. Joann's isn't around anymore, probably Hobby Lobby. You can get big giant rolls of tablecloth for your table that look pretty, that stay nice. Think vinyl. So it's easy to wipe off. If you want to put like a lace one down or something like that, just make sure you put vinyl on top of it so that they don't stain it, because your family, it looks nice. The material looks nice. I get it. It's pretty, but you know, if you've got kids, you're going to be cleaning it. And there's no sense being the stressful, angry mom to keep everything perfect if you just use vinyl and it just wipes off easily. So think tablecloth to cover that. We at one time had a smaller table, and then I ended up using an outside table, like a plastic picnic table. I put that upstairs. It was in our house. We lived up on the top, like in a loft type house, because our table was too small. So I put the other one there, and then I just got 2 big tablecloths and put them in a row. We had a really nice long table. No one knew it was a plastic table, and it worked great because it was covered. It was nice, and we had a nice big table that we could do crafts on, do school on, eat on, make food on. It was wonderful. Now let's talk about mealtime manners at the table. Do you struggle with that with your kids? Yeah, there's been many times where it was like, hurry, hurry, hurry. Seems like by the time you put the food down, the kids ate real quick and it was time to clean up, or it was really loud because you had babies and toddlers and everybody's hungry and it's just loud, 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 loud. Some manners do go a long way, but I've learned, and there's seasons, so don't be hard on yourself if you're going through a loud period at dinner. I remember not wanting to sit at the table because I had so many loud kids, because there was a lot of little ones. There was 10 kids total, a lot of little ones. So you hurry up and ate, and you got out of there because it was just loud. Kids were throwing food, just making mess food, babies, you know, not throwing, literally throwing, but just loud. But you can kind of train and teach. Everything's training, just like everything else. You have to teach your kid to walk, to help them clean up their room. You have to teach them to brush their teeth. You can also teach and train them to be pleasant at the meal table. So one thing I did is, instead of, like, 'cause you can have a big giant list of manners, right? You can have a whole lot to learn from. What I did is I would just take the ones that bothered me the most. Like maybe it was just speaking quietly at the table. Okay, so then maybe for a whole week, you work on teaching them to have quiet at the table. You know the best way to teach quiet at the table? It's not raising your voice and yelling at your kids. You know what it is? To talk and whisper really quiet. When you talk really quiet all the time, your kids are forced to listen, and then, then they learn to talk a little bit quieter. Sometimes you might just have louder kids. Sometimes kids just talk in a higher pitched voice just because they're kids. But when you whisper and talk to them real gently, it helps bring that tone down. Now that helps also for anger. Ever get angry and just frustrated and you just want to scream as the mommy? I've been there. So learning to lower your voice, whisper, you'd be surprised how that changes the tone. So work on that. And if someone gets loud, go, oh, no, 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 no. Let's bring it down a lot, and down, down, down. And if somebody's yelling, bring it down. Work on that for the week. That's one way you can help, by lowering the noise, the decibel level in the dining room. Another thing to work on is to wait your turn to speak. That's hard. We do it. Our household, even to this day, are fast talkers. And we are real quick to talk. And I know people watch my videos and they're like, you talk over everybody. And I'm like, no, we just talk in our family like that. Like we do that all over. When we're talking with somebody, like in an important conversation or with friends, we let them speak. We do that. But in our household, we're like fast talkers. Everybody's going real quick, here, there, there. So we're learning to like wait for a minute, let the other person speak, and then saying things. And I know for my kids, a lot of them will go, oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, and we'll learning to wait on that. And that's just a process over time. And something else my kids have done is teaching my kids to thank the hostess, whoever's making the food, before they eat. Thank you for the dinner. And also waiting to leave the table before everybody else, because kids want to just get up and leave from the table, right, to go do their things. So being able to say, okay, let's wait. And after dinner, if everybody stays around the table, you know what, then everybody cleans up. Usually we have somebody scraping the food, someone wiping up the crumbs, somebody putting the leftovers away, somebody washing the dishes, somebody loading the dishwasher. Everybody has a job to do. If they all stick around, everybody helps. That's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to give you a free printable. As with this series, I'm giving you a lot of free printables. I'm going to give you I have a book called Large Family Mothering that I wrote, and it was based on things like this to help future homemakers. And so I'm going to give you the excerpt of this book. Every week, I'm going to speak on the different chapters. And so at the end of the weeks, however many chapters are, you're going to get the whole entire book for free. You can buy it if you want, but just get it for free. I'm going to give you the chapter that pertains to dining room today, linked below, so you can get that. Go get that free. And I'm also going to give you a free printable, meal manners. Now, these are something, do you have to do them perfectly? No, but it might be something you go through and go, okay, let's work on that today. It's not about perfection, right? Like real quick. Sometimes things in life, they take time, right? Everything does. So if you take one, make that your goal for the week. By the end of the week, you probably got it figured out, and then work on the second one. And then in 2 weeks' time, you got 2 manners done. That's a beautiful thing. Okay, let's talk about something simple, but that will save you money. And I'm going to say ditch the paper napkins. Even though you see paper napkins here right now, why are you going to say something different, Amy, than what you're actually doing? Because what I've learned over the years. Now, if you have a lot of people coming into your household at multiple times, like I do right now in this season, I have how many teenagers? 5 teenagers at home. 5 teenagers from 12 to 18. They are in and out. They've got their friends in and out. They're doing a lot of stuff where we're in and out all the time. Having paper napkins for me is beneficial because we have multiple people here all the time. I don't know how many people are going to be here at one given time. So paper works for me right now. But when we had little ones, you know what we did? We bought cloth napkins. That worked really good when we had the set number of kids. We weren't having a lot of people over. It was just us because we ate at the table 3 times a day and snack time. And it was something we had all the time. So I went and bought, you can get them at Walmart now for so cheap, but when I had kids, it was hard to find paper napkins. They were not paper, cloth napkins. They were more expensive at Walmart. So I remember looking at Goodwill and I'd find them for like $1 and they worked really good. You can go on Amazon and buy them now. You can get a big pack of them. My recommendation is get cloth napkins. Now don't get the plain ones. Plain colored solid ones don't hide the stains, and you're going to have stains. You're going to get frustrated because they're going to be stained. They're supposed to be stained. They're napkins. Get pattern ones. Think bold, bright, colorful patterns. I know you're tempted to get the less plain white ones. That's just not going to work. Bold. And then it will hide the stains a whole lot better. We use those for many, many, many years. Now, you have to be prepared for your napkins not to look so beautiful after you're washing and drying them, because you're going to fold them, they're going to look all wrinkly. You're going to have to choose what you like. I know we've bought the other, I don't know if they're polyester kind. They're not as absorbent as the cloth ones, but they don't absorb a lot of mess. They're more for fancier eating, but the cloth ones picked up things a lot better. Another inexpensive way to do it if you have a lot of littles is washcloths. I know you can get a whole pack of washcloths from Walmart for like $5, I think $6 probably. Those work great just to grab and pick up messes, especially when you have little ones with a lot of messes. You got to do what you got to do. It's just a way to save money. If you've got little ones, you're probably going through a ton of napkins. So, and if you have a lot of little kids, use the cloth method. And then that way, after your meals, grab and throw them in the laundry. Make sure you got enough for your meals through the day. You don't necessarily need one at every single meal, I don't think. But if you do, make sure you have enough and throw them in the laundry so you got them for the next day. That's just one little tip. A season. It depends on the season. Paper napkins work good in our season because I don't know how many people are going to be here at one given time, and it's more than what I'd hold on to from the majority of my days. You can also make your own as well. You know, purchasing, like I said, they're pretty inexpensive now, but if you can get some material, you can cut your own, sew it. That's a good project. And then some fun things that my kids have done over the years, my older ones more, we learned to fold different fan shape patterns. There's, like I used to work in the restaurant industry when I was a teenager, and I remember making the fan folds for your napkin. And there, you can look them up online. There's fancy ways to make them. Set them on the table. It's just a neat little way to go. Oh, look, it adds a little bit of like pizzazz to your tabletop. And so sometimes we would do that just for dinner, just to make dinner a little bit more special, is by having the folded napkins, the fan folds. There's a whole bunch of fun ones you can do too. So look this up. Just a new project, something you can do with your kids. Making mealtime fun. Now this might be, I don't know how your household is. It depends on, I've been to dinners at families where you sit down, it's very quiet. It's very quiet. It feels very awkward sitting around the table. You want to create a warm environment around your table. But maybe that's not natural. Maybe that's not natural for you to talk to everybody. Maybe that's not natural to have conversations. Maybe you are tired from your long day. I get you. How can you bring a little bit of communication and things around the table? You as the mom can think of questions to ask your kid all the time. Or you can have a little jar, sit on your table, called conversation starters. We did this many, many years in our home, and I had a little mason jar on my table, and I printed off this list of conversation starters, which I'm going to give to you, linked below for free. And you're going to be able to just cut them up, fold them up, put them in the jar. At each meal, maybe one person grabs one, and then we all go around, depends on how many people you have, and answer that question. So it just has fun questions that sometimes they're silly ones, sometimes they're serious ones, but they're just questions that, you know, spark some curiosity, engage in conversation. So when your kids go through them, you do the same thing as well and engage and answer those questions too. And you'd be surprised at the answers that you get with everybody. And that's one way. We have done that, and then by the time we're through everybody, it's like our whole meal is done. So that's just a fun way to engage in a good, healthy conversation with your kids. And sometimes you learn things that maybe you didn't even think about for the day. And or even for my kids, we did the conversation jar for a long time. And then sometimes we would say, give me your high and your low for the day. That was another thing we always did. And so the kids would start with their high and their low. Tell me the great thing of their day. Tell me the low thing of their day. And then it makes you as a parent be able to go, okay, they had a bad day on that. I didn't know that. Or, wow, that was a better part of their day. Make sure they have more of those. And so high and low, and me as the mom, we engage in those as well. So that's another way to create some conversation in your table and around the dinner table. So it doesn't have to be sitting around doing nothing, just eating, having conversations, liveliness, or staring at the TV. That's another thing. People just want to stare at the TV. Shut those off. Shut your phones off. TV, dinner time, we always say put the phones away. Let's engage and have conversations. So we'll do high-low conversation jar, funny questions or whatever. That's just a good way to engage everybody and create some harmony in your family. All right, so let's recap. This week is all about the dining room, whatever that looks like in your home, whatever area your home looks like. There's not a whole lot in our dining room except our table and our benches. So we want to clean and refresh the space, make it inviting, make it clutter-free. Remove all the stuff off like I did before this video because I had stuff stored on it. But take it all off so you can sit down and have some harmony. And then if you got some mealtime manners, I don't care if your kids are teenagers, you can teach some meal manners. Go over some meal manners for the day. We still go through that where everybody will just leave and I'll be like, no, we're all gonna sit together. We're all gonna eat. We're all gonna clean up. So teach some manners and make mealtime fun. Grab my free conversational starters linked below and try it in your home. Let me know how it goes and if it brings any harmony and any kind of conversation starting in your home for dinner. There is a lot of science behind the proven fact of a family that eats together, how they do better in school, kids, how the family lasts longer, all those things. So it is important if you can come together and have dinner together at least once a week. I know it sounds like maybe some people do it every single night for meals or 3 times a day, whatever it is. Don't take for granted those times because most people do not sit together and have dinner together as a family unit. So it depends. Some people are gone working. I get that. Dad's working, mom's working, all those things. Try to bring the kids together and sit down and have a meal together, even if it's for 5-10 minutes, but everybody sits down together, find out about their day, give the high-low, give a conversation starter. The teenagers will roll their eyes at you, but do it. You'd be surprised at the memories you make in your home. So I want to hear from you. Is there anything that you're going to implement in your homes this week? Put it in the comments below. And is there anything I missed? Anybody that's been doing this for a long time or even a short time that maybe you thought of something that I didn't for the dining room that you can add to help encourage a future person that's going to watch this video? All right, so you have a fantastic rest of your day. Remember to look below, get the excerpt from this book. I've also given you a bunch of free printables included that you can just go download and maybe use it as resources, some kind of guide to help you in setting up your dining room. So you have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you again. All right, bye.